Have you ever been deep in a snowy forest and just felt like you were being watched? Well, you probably were. Today, we're going on a search for one of the world's most mysterious hunters, the boreal owl. You could call it the ghost of the northern forests. So let's dive in. Okay, so when you picture an owl, what comes to mind? Probably a silent hunter, a creature of the night, right? But the animal we're tracking today, it completely breaks that mold. This is a forest phantom that's missing one of the most classic features you think of when you picture an owl, those famous ear tufts. So let's get a proper introduction to the forest's ghost. The boreal owl is actually one of the smallest and, you guessed it, most secretive members of the entire owl family. It's an absolute master of staying hidden. So why do we call it a ghost? Well, its whole life is basically a masterclass in stealth. It does almost everything under the cover of night, hidden away in these super dense, remote forests. This is exactly why actually seeing one is such a huge deal for birdwatchers. All right, we know it's hard to find, but let's say you got incredibly lucky and actually spotted one. How would you even know what you're looking at? Let's go over the clues for identifying this phantom. Okay, so you'd want to look for a few key things. First, its body is really compact and powerful, but its head is perfectly round. Remember, no ear tufts. What you'll probably notice right away are those huge, striking yellow eyes. They're framed by this pale facial disc that kind of acts like a satellite dish for sound. And see the white speckles on its brown back? That's not just for looks. It's perfect camouflage against tree bark. And here's something you might not expect. In the world of boreal owls, the female is actually bigger. It's a cool thing called reverse sexual dimorphism. She's about 30 centimeters long, while the male comes in at a slightly more compact 25 centimeters. But don't let that small size fool you for a second. This little bird has an incredible wingspan of around 60 centimeters. Yeah, that's more than double its body length. It gives them amazing power and agility when they're flying through those dense trees. So, you gotta wonder, right? How does such a small bird not just survive, but actually thrive in these harsh northern forests? Well, the answer is in its amazing toolkit, which is perfectly designed for hunting at night. The boreal owl's success really comes down to its sensory superpowers. Get this, its ears are actually placed asymmetrically on its head, which lets it triangulate sound with pinpoint accuracy. It can literally hear a vole scurrying around underneath a thick layer of snow. And its massive eyes are packed with light-sensitive cells, so it can see the tiniest movement in what looks like total darkness to us. And its whole hunting strategy is just a model of efficiency. It happens in 3 perfect steps. First, it uses those super senses to locate its prey. Then, it silently locks on from a high perch, just waiting for the right moment. And finally, the strike, a super fast, completely silent dive. Its flight feathers have these serrated edges that muffle the sound, so the prey has absolutely no idea what's coming. So, what's on the menu for this stealthy hunter? Mostly small mammals, think voles and mice. This makes them super important for keeping those rodent populations in check. But hey, they're not picky, they're opportunistic, so they'll definitely grab a small bird or a big insect if the chance comes up. But you know, this fierce hunter has a softer side too. Its family life is just as fascinating, and no surprise, it's incredibly private and secretive. When springtime comes around, it's time to settle down. Boreal owls are pretty resourceful. They don't build their own nests. Instead, they look for existing cavities in trees, and they often just move right into old, abandoned woodpecker holes. They're also really adaptable and will happily use nest boxes if people provide them. So once they've found that perfect, safe little spot, the female will lay her eggs. The number can actually vary quite a bit, anywhere from 3 to as many as 7 eggs in a single clutch. And once those eggs are laid, they have a really clear system worked out. It's a true partnership with a strict division of labor. The female handles the all-important job of incubating the eggs, keeping them warm and protected. And the male? He becomes the sole provider, hunting tirelessly to bring food back to the nest for his growing family. And this whole hidden life cycle brings us to what might be the most important part of this story. How do we make sure this incredible creature, one that most of us will never even see, has a future? Now, the boreal owl has a huge global range. You can find it all across the northern forests of North America and Eurasia. But this massive distribution depends entirely on one thing: the health of its very specific home. those dense coniferous and mixed forests. And that really gets us to the bottom line, the main takeaway here. The survival of these owls is directly 100% tied to our ability to protect the ancient forests they live in. It's pretty simple. Without that specific habitat, the ghost of the forest just can't survive. Which leaves us with a really big and powerful question to think about. It's a challenge, right? It makes us think not just about the animals we see every day, but about all the hidden species that rely on these same ecosystems. Protecting the unseen might just be one of the greatest conservation challenges we face.